The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus went to his hometown, and his disciples accompanied him. With the coming of the Sabbath, he began teaching in the synagogue, and most of them were astonished when they heard him. They said, "Where did the man get all this? What is this wisdom that has been granted him, and these miracles that are worked through him? This is the carpenter, surely, the son of Mary, brother of James and Joseph, Jude and Simon. His sisters too, are they not here with us?" And they would not accept him. And Jesus said to them, "A prophet is only despised in his own country, among his own relations, and in his own house." And he could work no miracles there, though he cured a few sick people by laying his hands on them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Challenge for us when we face rejection, hardships. So how do we face them? So do we have that same prophetic courage as we found in the readings today? Ezekiel had in the first reading, Paul had in the second reading, Jesus had in the Gospel. The prophetic courage only when we are connected as a prophet. All of us have been called to be a prophet by our virtue of baptism. And if we are connected by virtue of that with God, certainly we get that courage and grace, as St. Paul is telling. Beethoven, for example, he was awkward, was a great musician, but he was awkward playing style, and he would not accept the other's style, and his teacher called him hopeless as a composer. Albert Einstein, he was not able to speak till the age of 4. Till the age of 9, he was not able to write. And all the teachers considered him mentally slow. Something wrong. Thomas Edison, so teachers had advised him to his parents to keep him in school, keep him home, not to send him to school, because he was too stupid. He was not able to learn anything. Charles Darwin, he was considered by all the teachers, masters, and even by his own father, a very ordinary boy, rather below IQ level. These were the ones, so we know they excelled in different fields. Though there was rejection, so they were able to excel in their own ways, in their own fields. That surprised their own people. That is what happened in the first reading. We see Ezekiel. That is what happened to Paul. That is what happened also to Jesus. People were surprised. So they were not ready to accept easily. Because so they were looking at the human point of view. God can make impossible possible. So they were not able to see from the point of view of God. So God was looking from different point of view. That is why they were given grace. And as St. Paul is telling, and he experienced, my grace is enough for you in your weakness. We find Ezekiel, he was called to be a prophet to the stubborn, so rebellious Israelites who were already in exile in Babylon. and he was supposed to preach God's message. So you see, God is sending him to those people, rebellious and stubborn ones. So will they accept? No. In such a situation, it's very difficult. They were rebellious. So he will also face rejection. So he knows persecution. So when he gives God's message, so giving them hope in that hopeless situation. As Christians, we may also face similar rejection because we are Christians, followers of Christ. Maybe we may face indifference, hostility, certain hardships, maybe the persecution, maybe insult and rejection. And as St. Paul is telling, so they are part of our life. So as a missionary, certainly as a prophet, and as the God who has called you for a particular mission, so we need to accept them. So as he was also facing a lot of hardships, the persecution in preaching the mission, word of God, but as he says, he relied on the grace of God. The grace of God was enough for him. There was thorn in the flesh. The hardships were thorn in the flesh. But then, my grace is enough for you. And his grace was enough, as St. Paul says, in his weakness. So in that rejection also. Jesus in the gospel, so as he comes back to his own hometown, people reject him. They consider him as ordinary person. But we see in the gospel clearly, so they were wondering, where did the man get all this? What is this wisdom that has been granted him? And all these miracles that he is working. So all they were wondering, they were surprised. But they considered still he is a carpenter's son. Cannot be a good, so great person. So cannot be that. So they were not able to put him under that category. Jesus didn't wanted that also. But he had that prophetic courage in order to do what God has asked him to do, or God's mission. So he has come for a mission, and he does. Little miracles so that we see he has worked in that place. But then, so what was more important was, he makes them angry. Makes them angry because they were expecting that he works miracles, big miracles there also. But he did not work. Rather, he rebuked them for their lack of faith. So hardened their hearts. They rejected him totally for all this. In this situation, so what could be our reaction? So that is the life message that we want to take today for our life, we want to learn. The first one is, let us face rejection with prophetic courage and optimism. Jesus' rejection may happen to most of us in our life also. There can be hurts, wounds, betrayal, abandonment, not only from outsiders, but also from our own people, from our close people, our own relatives, our own family people. So we may face all this rejection. So they may not accept us. So rejection by the closest one is the worst thing that we can understand. So we lose all moral courage. The moral strength comes from those who are around us. So if they reject, so we have nowhere to go, only to God certainly. In such situations, so we need to face such rejection with prophetic courage and optimism. The second lesson we want to learn today is handle rejection with the right spirit. So when we have rejection, so what is our reaction? Often we get angry at ourselves maybe, angry at others. More than that, it creates bitterness towards others. So then we are not able to do anything. So when we handle them with the right spirit, that is the respect. Respect for others. Whatever they might have said, it is okay. So it is their point of view. So therefore, it should not be a synonym with continuous failure So they must have rejected. Sometimes we need to take them as the turning point, so it can make a difference in our life. Maybe somewhere I need to change. Maybe some lesson I need to learn from that. So this is how, with the right spirit if we take, then certainly, so there are big possibilities. It can bring in lot of changes in our life, and that will lead us also to the right direction, to the right mission, to complete our work, our calling. Thirdly, acknowledge the prophets in our midst, maybe our near ones, in our workplace. So all around we find, so we do not know them, we don't recognize them. So let us recognize them, acknowledge. So there are people, even our own home people, even the children sometimes, so they say something which is prophetic for some of us, no? So they can say something which is inspiring, which is guiding us. Maybe that is the thought we get early in the morning from a child, and then, wow. So I was waiting for a long time, and I got that. They can be prophets in our life. Our neighbors maybe those who are helping us in our own families. So how to appreciate them? A word of appreciation to them, or to the neighbors who are ready to share, help us. So how do we encourage others to find those prophets in our midst? Maybe friends who have given their time, support and attention. Fourthly, we must have the prophetic courage of our conviction. So whatever we are saying, so we need to have the prophetic courage. So we accept the faith that I have accepted, so I am firm in that. I am ready to die for it. The prophets and also the martyrs, that we have a best example that we can follow. So they were ready to do anything for that. That is the conviction, strong conviction, and the prophetic courage they had in order to do anything for that. So giving first chance to God, not the last one. Sometimes it can happen in our life. So we give Him remaining time. If we don't have time, oh, it's okay. So we avoid all other things, all prayers and all things. So all other things we do, not giving Him the last chance, but giving Him the first chance, first time, the priority. And finally, so we need to speak the truth of Christ with love. So whatever we say, so let us say with love. So that can bring a lot of good results. The prophets, St. Paul, Jesus Himself. So whatever we have to say, certainly the love is what? So we say with good intention. Our intention, our mind should be clear, heart should be clear. So what we are saying. So as we are celebrating this Holy Eucharist, so we ask for this prophetic courage in our life, so that as prophets we may live, we may also proclaim the word of God through our words and deeds, and we may able to give and set good example for others, especially to our own children, to our families. May God bless us.